gee, Joel looks a little bit rough, hey? And they said, yeah, he woke up on the roundabout. Good evening, audionautes. This is Darren from France. I'm speaking to Mathieu from the UK. If you're wondering why I have this incredible accent, you will have to watch some Pink Panther episodes. Inspector Clouseau, played by Peter Sellers, is potentially the funniest human I have ever seen. How are you, Matt?
I am grand. Even better now for hearing your incredible rendition of that accent.
I would just love to have seen Peter Sellers, the Pink Panther, alias the Pink Panther, try to surf. At the time, he was famous. Surfing wasn't probably as popular as it is in France these days, to say very popular.
Yeah, very slinky, I reckon.
Very slinky. What an incredible legend. What an incredible episode we've got ahead of us, listeners.
I was about to
Do
say, I thought we had two special guests then. I thought,
well, we imagine we would have had the Pink Panther interviewing Joel Vaughan, newly qualified for the World Tour. And if I had to throw my 5 cents into the ring, I'd say probably the most highly awaited rookie on tour for next season. Is that a big call?
no, I would say that I 100% agree. In terms of show-stopping highlight reel moments, 100% agree.
Isn't that what we want to see?
Yeah, like I can't wait to see Georgie Pitar, another insider alum. I think he's going to do really well, but he's not as he doesn't have the potential. Like Joel's got the potential to do it to score a 10 on any wave.
Joel has scored two tens on
Yeah.
two different waves in the Challenger Series over the last 2 years. And I don't know anyone on the planet that would have. I guess there's a lot of people on the planet who haven't seen, but who would see that 10 he got in Brazil last year and not be gobsmacked.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gobsmacked. His feet didn't go for his board. He went that high. Um, I also think that it should be said that the interview was so today is the 15th of November and we don't usually timestamp. The interview was 6 a.m. last Saturday morning for me, but since that the news for the 2026 WSL men's tour is going to be cut down. The numbers are going to be cut down, which is
Did they say that? Did they say that? I know that the women's numbers have been up to 24, correct?
yeah, and men's are coming down to 24.
Down to 24 or down to 28?
24.
Okay, so they did do that. When
So
did that come out?
yesterday.
Okay, they did the women first, and then what? A couple of
Or,
days
or the
later, they
men,
said the men?
yeah, or the men's has come out today.
Because I didn't know that. It's flash news. Is that a stab opinion, Matt, or is
Yeah,
that fact?
fact. Trimming the men's down, men's CT down to 24 surfers. Um,
In my opinion, I
oh,
don't think
actually, maybe I've read that wrong.
you
Uh,
read it wrong,
oh
Matt.
no, I
I'm
don't think
telling
so.
you. No, no, I'm pretty sure you have, mate.
Let me. I'm,
As a scoop, listeners,
let me.
Matt got something wrong,
Maybe I have got it wrong.
which is good to
But
have it live. That doesn't
but
matter.
if they do that, because there's still potential that they could, it would mean that even more so. it's a better time for Joel to, because no doubt if and when they do cut the men's down, um, it means that that Challenger Series that year is going to be harder. I have been
Wonder how they're going to manage these challenge.
I have been duped by a stab post.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
it does say it
It's
says
opinion.
opinion, yeah, and that is my bad. But anyway,
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'll tell you what is interesting is that they've added the women on, so that means next year there's only three women, if I read correctly, that will get cut. Huh? Which means what is
yeah,
it? Is it 12 out of 15 or 15 out of 18? I don't know. It's 10 plus 8. Yeah, it's potentially 15 out of 18 will requalify and three won't.
correct.
So you're at the bottom of the barrel if you don't get the cut on the women's side, and the men's side will be it's to be advised, TBA.
What? So yeah, and then it's from the Challenger Series. It's six. It's
Top
uh
seven.
top seven, but
Top
then
seven makes 15 plus seven is 22. Injury wild card
yeah,
and
yeah,
event wild card.
yeah. So it makes the Challenger Series next year. It's weird. It makes the for the women, it makes the tour better because like you said, if you're bottom three, then sods, but not sorry, you fuck off. And then but the Challenger Series, every year it's been like the top five has been so tight for the women. Now it's going to be the top seven, which is great as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It was a little bit intense. It was a little bit ridiculous. Um, it's a hard slog. Obviously, if you're on the uh, Grand Prix grid for Formula One, it's your sponsors that are picking you and you're getting put up. As
Yeah.
opposed to in surfing, it's down to the basics. It's make heats and you'll make the tour. Um, what was pretty rad about Joel is you know the story, Matt. There was a Young Guns video made in 21. Quicksilver contacted me and asked me if they could rent the surf house out for 10 days for these guys to do a film. We had Matthias Hurdy,
Yeah.
Cade Madsen, Ryoho, forget his second name, Japanese pipeline charger.
The greatest. Is he the cucumber farmer?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We are
Let me
into
think. Who else did we have?
Joel Vaughan.
Joel Vaughan, I'll get to him. Cowley Vast was
Yeah.
there. Noah Dupuy, who at the time came into the house. I'm sure there was a couple of other people. Most of these people have qualified since. Um,
Wasn't
Joel
that
had
the
never.
American kid? Or was that Cade? I think yeah, that was Cade.
There was Kate. I'm wondering if there was a second one. I don't think so. Either way, Joel come in. I'd never met him before, and I saw the name on the list, and they said he was arriving on the Saturday night, I think it was. And I still had guests in the house, and around about 8 o'clock, this taxi pulls up, and this kid gets out of the car, and it was Joel. And I said, "How you going, mate?" He said, "Yes, good." And I said, "Where did you come from?" He'd done Australia to Osagor by himself, flew from Barcelona, stopover to Bilbao, and then had a taxi up from Bilbao to Osagor, which is 2.5 hour taxi. I was like, "Are you hungry?" And he was like, "Yep." And I was, "How would you like a meat pie and a can of Coke?" And he was a little bit gobsmacked. He didn't realize I had a pie shop in the cafe, and he was pretty stoked on that. And we got on quite well. He was a quiet but intense kid. I think around about day three, I quick at the time I'd just done a knee injury. I'd strained my medial, strained the meniscus, and had a micro fracture on the left hand side of the knee. So I didn't want to look at the surf, but one day I thought I've got to go up and at least look at him. And as I come up over the hill and look down, I saw this guy do an hour, and I said, "That's Joel." It's crazy, huh? In surfing, how someone can walk or talk the way they hold themselves, and you can actually recognize them on a wave, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. It's
It's
yeah,
it's so wild, isn't it?
yeah. I know who you missed off the list.
Tell me, it was a big, big, big swinger.
Jackson
Jackson Branch,
Bunch.
Bunch. Sorry, Jacko. And I kept getting him wanting to call him Brandon from Beverly Hills 90210. I don't know why. And him and Joel actually noticed because I found these pair of Nike uh, dunks at the dump. I was dumping something. I seen these pair of Nike said St. Vinny de Paul's container, and I just picked them up. And like one of the guys from the dump came over and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I left me shoes. I had to change shoes so they didn't get dirty." And as it turned out, I put them on for a day or so. They were a little bit tight. I ended up giving them the Bradley, and they had a reverse swoosh, which is the Travis Scott
Travis Scott, yeah,
model.
like a grand.
But Jackson and Joel picked up on them straight away, and we were checking them out. But turns out they were probably fakes. Well, yeah, they were at the dump. Otherwise, they're worth a couple of grand.
Yeah, otherwise Bradley owes you a couple of verre de vin. Uh yeah, I was like most of the interaction I'd seen from Joel was preheat interviews. And then there was this one clip that came out which Stab done where his brother Huey and Lungy Slab basically surf every spot on the Goldie in a day and eat and they just drink chocolate milk and eat pie. And it's really cool. But I didn't really have this like you couldn't really tell like what his kind of character was and stuff. But chatting with him, it came across really clear that he's very, very, very driven, super, super nice, like really, really polite. Not that he wouldn't be, but really driven, and he's got his head screwed on, and he's kind of like pretty laser focused on the comps, which is really good. That's what you need. So really excited to see how he goes, and it was really, really cool to chat to him.
He's intensely focused because that week there were some radical surfers in the house, and we were talking. And at the time, Quicksilver still had the Challenger Series event, which was the same time of year. And he said to me, "Hey, block me a room next year because I'm coming back with my dad for the comp." And I said, "Oh, you got to qualify for that, don't you, via the regionals?" And he said, "I'm qualifying. Don't you worry about that." And
Yeah,
I don't think he said, "Don't you worry about that." But that was basically the vibe he was giving off. And I believed him. And honestly, he qualified for the Challenge Series and he was back the next year.
yeah,
And
he
then he
was
was
back.
back the year after. And he's from a family of four brothers. The father was a very talented soccer player. And he said, "Oh, my little brother rips." And I was like, "All right." He goes, "Oh, yeah, he's really good." And then the next day goes to me, Molly's coming for a pie because he lives like on the same street as Molly Picklum at the
Yeah,
time, which was rad because she was in the Challenger Series that season. She qualified. Then Huey got invited to a couple of those stab things. And obviously because then he wasn't doing a couple of comps and as media like to blow up teenagers like they've done with Katie and everything else. It's so easy because they're not yet locked in on that schedule that Joel was. I just had the impression that media wise, he was getting a high profile as opposed to Joel, who had to do the competitions and was focused on doing that. And and I was thinking, well, it'll be super interesting to see when his time comes because I knew it was going to come, and it did.
Yeah.
Some people you can see it. Some surfers you can see it. I saw Mick Fanning surf Noosa when he was 14. Me and my older brother were on the up on the hill at Nationals looking back at Tea Tree. The guy was the best in the water. He was 14 in a crowd of incredibly talented surfers. Joel's got that same vibe, I think.
Yeah, I think with some surfers, probably because of the way it is now, you know they've got it and you're just like when, some of them it's like sometimes I guess sometimes they like peak a bit too early and then they have to go away and stuff. Um, but you know it's coming. It's like the same with, I guess, like this year he only missed it by a little bit, but like Al Cleland Jr., like he's undeniably good, and you've seen it in so many of the clips when he was younger and stuff that he is crazy good, and like you know that when he cracks the tour, he'll make an impact, and I do think the same with Joel. Um, I also think like what was really cool was I didn't get the vibe that he's like, yeah, I've made the tour. That's pretty cool. What happens, happens. I like get the vibe he's eyeing up events. Like,
No, not at all. It was
yeah,
funny when he mentioned, is it El
El
Salvador?
Salvador.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because it was only after he said it that I thought that actually is because it's kind of got a little bit of light onshore. And what I saw with him and Alistair and George last year was like nearly every conversation, if there was any wind, they were saying, let's go punt. And he can punt all right, I tell you
oh,
that.
his air game's up there. I just think it's really cool that we had obviously when we had Lobby on, we've had Lob on a couple of times, which is great, and he's obviously incredibly talented and incredibly smart and stuff. And I remember thinking it after speaking to him that like he's not he's not there for the ride. He's there to fuck shit up, basically. And I got the exact same feeling. Like I can't remember exactly what I asked Joe. I think I asked him like what stops he most excited for and stuff. And obviously he's like you'll hear he says about like how he's excited for pipe and all the other stuff. But we wouldn't have ever picked El Salvador. But as soon as he said it, it makes complete sense.
It is a super new school wave, isn't it? Really, like you could see, Geordie didn't necessarily like it because even though when he was younger, he was all about tricks and airs and everything. But I just think as you take on a little bit of maturity and age, you're obviously looking for cleaner waves, bigger perfection. Where at 21, you just want to blast the buck out of any single thing that moves.
Yeah. Plus, it's probably one of the one waves that almost relates to a lot of the waves that he's had on the Challenger series this year, where it's not going to be, it's not pipe, and obviously it's not J Bay or um wherever else they go in. It's not like
I'm pretty stoked he brought up pipe. It just shows like there's that tradition of because he's from South Coast, New
yeah,
South Wales, where they have a lot of slabs, which are hell heavy waves, but nothing compares to the bonsai pipeline. So it'll be so amazing, like win or lose.
yeah.
And he doesn't have that handicap that someone like Jacob Wilcox had, that there's only 5 events. So if you dud one, at least you got a little bit of a chance to come back at it. I don't think it's going to be easy for him.
No, I think
It's a radically hard tour.
it's super hard, and I think like when you look at who else has got back on with him, obviously we said at the start like he's the name. Sammy Pupo, I don't put in the same thing as Joel because obviously he's returning to the tour, but you look at the
Third return.
yeah, you look at the start of the year and you
No,
can't
second
see him.
return, third time on.
Yeah, he should do better this start, especially with the longer to the cut and the events that are there. But I do think that Joel's got. when I look at it and I'm like, well, I think he should, with the other people going on, I would say that he should do better than some of the other returning Brazilians like Ale Jimenez, and I'd see him doing better than like the uh, Eduardo Grigia, and probably Marco Mignon, like, and people like that. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if Joel makes the cut.
Both we were watching. There was a, I think you were there that day. There was like a 4 to 6 foot left running off mid to high tide right in front of Estanio, and
Yeah,
George, Alistair, and Joel went out.
George.
And yeah, those boys came in earlier, and I said, how was that turn from Joel? It was like he wasn't, which was interesting because obviously it wasn't a heat. So he was just going big. He wasn't trying to link a wave, do 4 turns. He was just going massive. And both of Alistair and George said he's just a freak. And they're traveling with him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He is, and you see it like I know on the Stab Highway that they done, like people were just like they kind of got skunked, and he was still managing to do stuff in real bad waves, but he still sends it as well. Um, yeah, it was a pleasure to chat to him. I had it made getting up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning in England, where the sun's not rising till 8 a.m. at the moment.
You were hurting, Matt. I saw it in your eyes. You were hurting.
I was yeah, I was about, well, I can safely say that 5 minutes before we pressed the record button, I was asleep. So um, it was early, but it was
Well,
completely worth it.
I had an hour on you because I'd woken up at 6 and I just woke up. Like I couldn't go back to sleep. And I took the missus' electric car down the road to the supermarket, which is 500 meters down the road, and plugged it into charge. Walked back, had a coffee, sent you the message. And we've been skunked before. Thank you, Joel, by the way, that you didn't skunk us. We've been skunked before with that. Yeah, I'll do it. And it doesn't happen. And you never know, especially when you're in different time zones. So I was quite ready for it, but I had something I was going to kick off and say. Um, it'll come to me if you can think of something
But
to fill the time.
it did help that in England the surf was cranking on Saturday, so I finished. So we done the poddy, and then I just literally finished, walked the dog as the sun came up, and then surfed all morning, and it was very good, which was fun.
Hey, they're probably, or is it next week? They're on their way to the Abu Dhabi pool. You're seeing all the clips that have come out on that. Leo,
Yeah,
there was a Taj and everything.
the Taj one, yeah, 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 yeah.
It does look fun. Come on.
Oh, it does. And Mitch Cruz, because we spoke about it, and we spoke about the WSL going there and whether it's right or wrong and stuff. But Mitch Cruz does an interview with Stab, and he basically says there's a lot of misinformation about the country. Um, it's quite a good interview. It's on their podcast as well.
Well, there's a lot of misinformation amongst middle to upper class.
Yeah, but yeah, that pool looks really good. Actually, it's funny because I was going to bring it up to you, because also there's been opened in the last 2 weeks is the wave pool in Scotland.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
I
looks fun as brown as it is.
Is it? I was going to say, I keep seeing clips of like the Abu Dhabi pool where people are in boardies and it's like state of the art, and the water is unbelievably perfectly blue. And then I see a clip of Lost Shores, and it's like windy, choppy, horribly brown, but a fun wave. It looks long. It looks like it's a big, big pool, which I think is why it looks a bit choppy. And I don't know why it's brown. Um,
But I
It
bet you
shouldn't
it's
be
a
brown.
fair bit cheaper to go for an afternoon and surf there than it is in Abu Dhabi at 4K a pop.
Well, yeah, so I think you can do Abu Dhabi and it costs you £100 a wave. And I think it's like 4 grand per. No, it's not.
I think they can share it between six
Yeah, you can
people.
share and stuff. And I think that'll get you a whole session, if not two, at Lost Shores in Scotland. And
How much does that cost at Lost Shores?
I haven't looked it up, but I'm guessing it'll be close to the same as the Bristol pool, which is around 55 quid
55 quid for an hour.
for an hour. Yeah.
I think that's doable. I'd spend that on a Saturday afternoon as opposed to go to
Yeah.
a shopping centre.
If you do, I usually do, when I go to Bristol, I usually do 2 sessions. And, you know, that's you're guaranteed 14 waves, but you can double up as well. So generally you leave and you've caught 30 waves and they're like all to yourself, no hassle, and it's worth it. Um, but I was just thinking like the Lost Shore, I haven't been up there. It looks really fun. Like the wave actual shape and everything about the wave looks real fun, but it looks freezing cold and brown. And I can't help but feel like they need to sort that brown situation out.
I think they do. I think that's pretty hard. But I did have a culture shock when I went to Scheveningen in Holland. I can't remember how many years ago that was for an opening of Heart Beach Board Riders Cafe and Surf School on the beach. They were at a shop a little bit back, and I didn't surf that weekend because it was onshore cold and windy, and I'd had a massive night there where one of the sales managers just kept feeding me beers. But on that next morning, I saw kids in their wetsuits riding bikes with horizontal rain, and I thought, this is hardcore. And then when you look around the place, every single person's riding a bike in this weather, and none of them are blinking. And you know, the Scottish, like let's just say Manchester, where girls can walk around at 4 in the morning, -5 in a mini skirt and a singlet. So I guess for a Scot in a 543 to go and surf fun waves, it's
Yeah,
doable.
it's
I mean,
definitely doable.
I'm not flying up there. I haven't gone out a single wave pool in my life, so I don't think I'm going to start there.
I think it's definitely doable. I just think like if I were going to be tempted to say if you're within an hour's proximity of it or 2 hours proximity of it, I'd be way more tempted if it was like beautiful,
Blue.
if it was blue and beautiful and stuff. Even because even like the wave at Bristol is you can
Is
go
it blue?
yeah, you go when it's freezing cold, but it's blue. Like
How do they why can't they, you don't think they can Photoshop it or give surfers like 3D glasses or something,
yeah,
colored glasses? Hey, back to Joel, before I forget. If and that would be sensational. Huey comes on fire, rips through the next couple of years of competition and goes on tour, and Joel manages, most hopefully, and let's say likely, to stay on tour. That would be an amazing other brother combination after Griff and Crosby. And I can't remember the other, Sammy Pupo, Miguel Pupo,
yeah,
the Hobgoods, the Irons brothers would be a great tradition, no?
100%. You and the Wright brothers, Mikey and Owen.
Mikey and Owen, have we had any sisters? No.
Um,
Come on, girls. Send us some sisters.
yeah. No, I don't think so. What about who was I thinking of? No, that's not, is it? No.
All right. Well,
No.
we
Yeah.
won't waste too much time. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's speak to the JV next week. After this episode drops, Matt and I are going to talk about the electric acid David Rastovich surf series, which was amazing. Uh, plenty of other things coming out too. I saw an incredible video I sent through to you of William and Lottie with Ryan Birch working on asymmetrical. And also, there was another one I sent you, didn't I?
Ryan Lovelace.
Ryan Lovelace. What did I say?
Yeah,
Ryan Birch. Sorry,
yeah,
Ryan Lovelace.
both
There
the
was
same.
also something else I saw that I was going to watch, some sort of North Sea thing, but it doesn't ring a bell. We'll get to them.
Yes, we will, and we will review the um. There's a Rip Curl Grom search going on right now. Lucas Skinner's in it, Dylan Donegan's in it, and a few other people. We'll have a chat about the results of that because that's pretty cool. That's going down right
And
now.
and surfers, don't lose heart. You don't need to spend £4,000 or euros or dollars to go to Abu Dhabi. Before this podcast, I had to take a set of S wings, red thruster side fins off my computer desk. Then I had to quickly go and put a wetsuit in the garage. We've got so much shit that we've got to consume as surfers that all those little things can kind of make you happy, you know. I got a
Yeah, and if you want to save some dough, shameless plug, but I've been working pretty hard on it to help out with brands and stuff that I've been doing some bits with. Wetsuit Outlets Black Friday is live right now, and some of the savings on there I'm shocked by. So
there you go. There you go. Get yourself a wetsuit. I'm tomorrow morning gonna
jacket,
surf. I'm gonna surf my simple
nice.
thick 3-2 incognito 4-3 tomorrow morning with inner fur. I've been surfing my Patagonia 3.53 for the last few weeks. Thanks, Gabe. Sick. Ulix. Feels good on the skin.
Yeah, I actually had to do some modeling this week and ended up in the Quicksilver Mercury wetsuit, the new one, and it looks.
Please don't send me photos of that, please.
Wait until they'll be on the gram.
But what is it? What's it? Why is it Mercury? Is this above a high line or under it?
Nice under it. Mercury's just the range they've done. So they've done clothing with it and stuff, and it's like kind of quite core, like a throwback. It's the what's that? It's the Sons of Fortune. Is that what that's called?
Yep.
Sons of Fortune styling on it and stuff. So it's all over it, and it's quite
Surfers of Fortune.
Overture of Fortune. Sorry, that's it.
Sons of Fun.
And
Son of a bitch.
it's a very. I was surprised. I thought the suit looked really really cool, and I didn't know how it was
S-
going to be. How it's
Son
going
of
to
a gun.
really, really good wetsuit, actually. Surprised by it.
What is it? A
Um,
4-3?
4-3,
What
uh,
size?
medium tall,
Is a medium tall fit like a
per
medium tall should?
perfect for me. And for the shoe, I got like three pairs of socks down, to pad out where it needs to be padded out when you're
Ah,
modeling
right,
the
right,
suit.
right, right, right. So it's for a heavy laden man.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, it was really, really good. Which is,
Ah,
I believe Joel's wearing those wetsuits and stuff, so it's a good
there you
time.
go. We're going to switch to Joel, but I just got to throw him under the bus. Um, you were talking about waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning and not feeling good. And he's walked into the house last year and I forget who it was, someone had brought him back. And I said, well, gee, Joel looks a little bit rough, hey? And they said, yeah, he woke up on the roundabout. So he's woken up on the roundabout just up the hill. It wasn't his fault. I'll pay him this. He went to the Cooling, which is the old Café de Bar Basque, the La Centrale Hossegor, probably the most popular bar if you're coming down this way. And an Aussie guy was working behind the bar. And because Joel's so magnetic, he's magnetic. Everyone wants to be his mate. He's just one of those people that you'd enjoy talking to. The guy just kept giving him drinks and said, you've got to come out with me. So he took him out for a bender, and the poor kid woke up on the roundabout, and then he's got back and they couldn't find his phone. So he's gone on the computer to locate it, and obviously the phone was on the roundabout, so they went back and got the phone. Sorry, Joel, but it was fucking pretty funny at the time, and you did well after it. So thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for you guys listening to me and Matt blah beforehand, and enjoy the episode.
And everyone support Joel for next year.
You.
Here's Joel.
All right, welcome to the Insiders, Jolie. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm stoked to be on.
Fucking pretty stoked then. You're on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I'm on the Gold Coast. I'm currently staying at Oscar Berry's house at the moment.
Okay. Are you going to live up there or what do you think?
At the moment, I'm probably just going to stay at home and do some like little stints up the Gold Coast for a bit of training and I guess like some preparation around boards with DH and yeah, so just stay on the Central Coast and yeah, just do a couple of little stints when I have some time.
That's sick. He's a pretty knowledgeable person to be leaning on for boards and for help around the whole tour, right?
Yeah, Darren's got so much knowledge and a lot of people around him with knowledge as well, like Mick Fanning and Steph, but they've both won multiple world titles, so it feels pretty cool to be able to go into the Shaping Bay and just kind of observe what he gets to do.
Do you get to do you get to talk to Mick about this? Has he talked to you about being on the tour yet?
Not yet, but I'm hoping to catch up with him while I'm up here and have a go for a surf and stuff and get his thoughts on how I should attack the tour.
Fuck, it's pretty wild, because remember when you come here, like you came here that first year when you were with the Quick Groms, and then the year after you came with Liam and he qualified. And I was telling you guys, I mean, I was just kind of trying to get you confident, but I was saying it's the lucky house. He's all gonna qualify. And here's 2 years later, you and George both qualified. Fuck, so
I know.
that must be amazing because he was your traveling one of your traveling partners for the last couple of years, eh?
Yeah, it's been good to yeah travel. That year I came with Lob. He qualified, and I got to. I mean, I was competing myself, but I got to watch him and see how he, um, like what his views were on the Challenger Series and how he approached his heats and stuff. And then yeah, last year went. I came and stayed at the house with George and Alistair, and yeah, like you said, you were like, oh, it's got to be the lucky house. So one of yous are going to qualify. Um, which and yeah, it was pretty cool to George had such a sick start to the year, and felt like I finished off pretty strong myself. So yeah, maybe it is a lucky house.
I saw you had sorry, Matt, you had a bit of a shocker kind of at the start of the season, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't. I felt like I was surfing all right. Just maybe some bit of strategy work I had to work on for my heats. Was it was kind of just some wave selection and positioning that kind of got me undone in the start of the season. Had to try to tidy that up for the last few events.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just about to say we just need to get Alistair on, but I reckon he's a real good shot for next year because I think his levels are definitely there. When you're like coming out of like you say, just like strategy wise and stuff, is there like times where you're like you just put it down to like the ocean as well, or do you try and like learn like sometimes you like you're surfing good and stuff like because obviously we've all seen that the Challenger Series sometimes the waves are just pretty bad.
Yeah, it definitely does come down to, I guess, some some waves not coming or some waves coming to some people, and yeah, I felt like if that happened, it was just I should like at the end of the day, there's people that are going to make the heat, and people had to put themselves on those waves to make the heat. Um, so at the end of the day, you can you could make some good decisions, but might not have been the best, and make some heats, or sometimes you make what you feel like are the best decisions, and you don't make the heats. So it's quite hard. Like when you come into the events and every first round you feel like could be a final. It's pretty tricky.
Cool.
And
How's you saw last year like there was all the Americans, right? The 2%. And it really looks like it's going in like little bundles of energy because this year there was like multiple Brazilians. And
Mm.
obviously the Australians always want to say like, yeah, okay, the Brazilians because the waves are bad and everything. What do you think? What did you put it down? You think you put it down to this year with the Brazilians having such a massive run? Was it waves or was it their hunger or a mix of everything and luck?
I reckon I think that they do a lot of great preparation before the events. They prepare very well, and I feel like they make the right decisions in the right times. They know when to go throw a bit of risk and throw some airs, and then know when to calm it down and just do a couple turns to get a 4-5 to make the heat. And I feel like they did that very well. They were their decision making was on point, and very consistent throughout every event. So I feel like that's what I kind of put it down to, and I got to watch that at the start of the season and saw that, and I was like, all right, there's some stuff for me to improve on, and yeah. But then there was also Sammy Pupo, who was absolutely ripping all year. From start to finish, he had some amazing events, and sometimes he was just on that roll where when no one was going to beat him. So I feel like yeah, it came down to a bit of strategy, but they were all surfing really well as well.
yeah, with that and like leaning on, obviously you was on the Challenger series like for a couple of years, so you got to do a few of the spots. We've now seen that next year, which I think is really sick, you're going to get like 7 events rather than the real quick 5 event cut, and then which no doubt you'd make, and then obviously into the end of the year. But next year you've got like 7 events to really like settle yourself down, make that cut, and then crack onto like what looks to be a mental back half as well, or back section. Is there I think there is, but are there events that in that first 7 where you're actually like looking at that now going like, yeah, I can crack that.
Yeah, definitely. I look at a lot of them, and I'm just honestly just quite excited.
Yeah.
Get to do my first ever CT at Pipe is pretty crazy, and I'm yeah super excited to do that. And I feel like Pipe's one of those events where you could you could get eights or you could get twos and threes.
Yeah.
Um, so
I, s-
it's you can never really know what's going to happen there. So I feel like that's such a cool thing to come into, and yeah,
I saw that. I can't remember. I don't think it was last year. It was the year before after he left. And I remember, I'm pretty sure I saw you got a really good backdoor pit. Have you, do you surf, do you surf pipe a lot when you're there? I know it's a stupid question, but with all that crowd, have you still put in a lot of time at pipe over the last 3 or 4 years?
yeah. Since the last few years, I've been there. Try to get out there like nice and early, and try to get some waves before the crowd gets out there, and some late afternoons where everyone's coming in, and that's kind of the brief windows where you can actually try to get some waves. But there's a whole lot of sitting out there and waiting, and it can get quite frustrating. So I tend to move down towards off the wall and get some try to get some barrels around there. Um, so for the preparation for pipe, I'm just going to be not really expecting to get too many waves, and just kind of get some lineup styled, and just know that hopefully, if the waves are good, I just put my head down and try to get some good barrels. Would be pretty cool.
Well, you saw last year, like Jacob Wilcox, who's, hands down, probably on the Challenger series, you wouldn't put anyone above him nearly in pipe. And he just got gypped by just the other
Mm.
dude getting a better wave, like right towards the end. So you can't really control everything, can you?
Nah, I remember. I think that heat was against Yago, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, Jacob is crazy in the barrel, and he was doing so well, and yeah, like you said, like right at the end of the heat, Yago just gets a bomb and got an eight, and yeah, those things you can't control that, and that's kind of the exciting thing. I'm like quite excited for this year.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
never
Can
know
you
what could happen.
you
Yeah,
could
it
be
could
the
be
dude
me.
getting the exactly, yeah.
Yeah, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, especially at Pipe. I feel like Pipe is such a amazing event. I also think it's like one of those events where um in England in football we have something called the FA Cup, and it's like a cup
Yeah.
tournament, and like it's known for the fact that like a team like who's not meant to beat a team will just go and beat them because it's like a one-off game. And I always think that with Pipe, like there's been years where um you've got, I mean, even like Barron's obviously amazing at Pipe, but he was a wild card when he won it and stuff. And
Mm.
it's like that event where there's always, I feel like there's always something that's happened at Pipe that is like against what you think should happen. So it's like for sure that's really, I think I'm really excited to see your surfing at Snapper, which I think will be sick back on tour. I also think, I don't know if you've had much experience with the pools and stuff, but that's an event where I think like with your weapons and the tricks you've got in up your sleeve, that's an event where I think like I wouldn't like to see your name come up against my name if I was some of the bigger guys as well, like as in big.
Yeah, big named. Yeah, in saying that, I'm actually about to go do a bit of training over at the pool. At the end of the
In Abu
month.
Dhabi, in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I'm going over in around the 24th. Head over for a few days with Liam and George, and
Oh,
go do
awesome.
some training. Yeah, so that'll be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm quite excited for that. I'm also really excited for El Salvador. The wave looks like a little
Mm.
skate park.
Yeah.
Um, and wind's blowing into the rights, which would be pretty sick. Um,
Hey, well, you were saying before about knowing when to pull the trigger on the airs. What do you do, like, for example, when you can't hold back, you drop a 10 in heat two of Brazil. Yeah, if
mm,
you see that you can't necessarily wait for the final, are you? Can you?
yeah, you never know when you're gonna get that crazy section. So I feel like like if I get an air section, I want to attack it as well as I can and go for something big. I'd rather go for something big and fall off like go for something small and fall off and wish I tried something big, you know. Um, so for that, yeah, like if I get a section and I feel like it's the right time of heat or I'm under priority or whether I need a score or something, I try to like evaluate it up in my head and try to weigh up the risk of all right, do I need to do this right now or should I just do some surfing on rail and try to get if I need a four, try to get a four or something. But I'm sure for the CT, I won't be surfing for fours. Gonna have to surf as well as I can because I'm up against some of the top people in the world. So quite exciting.
That you were like obviously you were pretty young those first couple of years on challenges, and no one really cracks it first years. But the fact that you got a 10, like for example, was it Polito, you got a 10 going left, wasn't it? And
Yeah,
then
I got a 983. It just wasn't a 10.
983, it should have been a 10.
Yeah.
Did those two waves being able to do them in a heat at the end of the season, were you able to look back and go, well, fuck, I still had a really good year? Because not only did it like give you the score in the heat, it also gave you a lot of notoriety and for the sponsors and everything like that.
Yeah. It was definitely really good to look back at the end of the year. I think I remember WSL posted a couple of like the top rides from the year and seeing I think I was the only one in there twice last year. And that was like, oh okay, maybe I can fully do this. Like I'm getting some pretty high scores now. I just need to get a bit more consistency in the heats and put link them both together and hopefully I can qualify, and that's what I felt like I was trying to do this year, and seemed like it worked.
Yeah, I think it's a like a in in your head where if you'd have flipped your year around and you'd have like had a really strong start and then like had a couple of like worse results and scraped the like it would have felt like you like just made it kind of thing. Whereas I feel like this time the way you qualified where you like came in late and you're like right yeah I'm in kind of thing. You're rolling into next year. It's not that long. I know it's a couple of months, but it's like that momentum like can carry into pipe as well. I think it's a strong like kind of way to roll into it rather than coming off the back of like a couple of sketchy results. You might be questioning things that you don't need to.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, to qualify at like either way would have been good. But yeah, like you said, it definitely feels good to have a bit of two good results and have the ball rolling, and yeah, hopefully keep that momentum going for the start of next year. Will definitely feel pretty cool.
Do you know
But
roughly
yeah,
how many
like
do you know roughly how many boards you went through last year?
I'm not too sure. I'd like to say maybe around 15 to 20.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. I reckon
Yeah.
that's not too
I think I only snapped about um three or four boards, touch wood. But yeah, I only snapped about three or four boards last year. Just like surfing around like the slabs around home. Um, so the boards I had were actually the board I was riding was actually I got it just before South Africa, and I rode that board in South Africa where I got a ninth. And then the board just wasn't suited for the US Open, so I didn't ride it there. And I think I got a 17th there, and then I actually rode that same board in Portugal and Brazil. Um,
What was that? Is that a Juliet model?
yeah, yeah, that's a squash tail Juliet.
Yeah.
Um, and I did
So
a little bit of.
is
Oh
that
yeah, I
on
just
I?
did.
Sorry,
Sorry.
sorry, Joe.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I went into the bay and watched Darren shape that one actually, so it was quite felt very connected to that board.
Is that one on ice now then? Are you going to surf that one next year, you think?
Yeah, it's actually sitting in Darren's shaping bay at the moment, and he's just having a look at why it was going so good, and um, yeah, I think I might take it over to the pool and try it out over there and see how it feels over in the wave pool at Abu Dhabi, and yeah, I think he's going to make me a couple more quite similar to it, maybe add a couple little tweaks here and there, but yeah, that board felt really good, so definitely be right in throughout next year.
Hey, so for you guys going to Abu Dhabi, because obviously not many of our listeners will have the opportunity to go there shortly. Do you guys have to pay, considering your competitors on there next year, or do you get buffed out with a couple of sessions for training?
No, so they give us there's the 4 days before the event that the WSL have booked out for training. And I think we get about three. I don't know exactly how many ways we get, but there's the 4 days before the event where we get to surf waves and compete, and that's all paid for. But we have to pay when we go now. But luckily enough, the Surf Abu Dhabi, the people that run the wave pool, they've given us it at a discounted price, which is quite nice.
They've
But
got their own filmers and everything there when you go already, haven't they? You don't, or are you taking someone to film for you?
no, so like they've got cameras at either end. So when you go right, they've got the camera that films your waves, like it's just like the facilities have like self filming, which is quite cool. Um, so yeah, we won't need to take any filmers or anything like that. But we were thinking of maybe taking a coach or something, but it ended up being a little bit too expensive. So we're all just going to go over and hopefully just give little hints to each other to help each other out, I reckon.
Have you got a coach?
Um, for the events, I'll probably just be working with my dad. It's what I've done my whole life, so it's definitely worked up until now. But at the moment, I've been doing some like technical work with Jay Thompson, up on the Goldie. Just trying to work on getting better, I guess.
Yeah, so the trip to the pool, that's like you and the other guys just putting your heads together, going like, we should be over there more than just the 4 days beforehand. Let's go, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's just
Yeah,
we actually got like a group text message the other day with all the surfers and they just informed us that there won't be any like free sessions, but these dates have been discounted.
right.
So
Yeah,
we just had to contact them and say, yep, book us in, and then yeah, we were in and
You
popped in and
saw Leo was just there for, oh, I don't know how long he was there for. I've seen more pictures of him playing golf than surfing, but he was just there too.
yeah, I actually haven't seen that, but yeah, I think you'll be seeing a lot of footage around all the CT surfers getting around and surfing the pool quite soon. Um, because I think it's actually a little bit different than Lemoore. It's like it's salt water instead of fresh water, um and I think the left is like a little bit different compared to the one in Lemoore. So I think everyone will probably be going over and getting their reps in and surfing as much as they can.
Have you surfed Lemoore?
No, I haven't actually surfed Lemoore.
So
No.
back home, have you surfed what is it, the one in Melbourne?
Yeah, yeah, I've surfed the urban surf in Melbourne and Sydney. Uh, but they're similar. They're no, they're not very similar. Like the waves are completely different, I feel like.
yeah,
I think from what I've heard, the energy comes from underneath at the urban and wave pools, whereas like because it's like the train with with like the big foil, the energy's more like in the middle of the wave. So it's like a quite a bit of a harder wave to figure out, but once you get the pace, I've heard it's just the funnest thing ever.
It looks like Taj was just there. It looks like, he looked like he picked it up pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm sure most of the crew pick it up pretty quick. And I think I saw some footage of one of my mates from home, Lungy surfing it,
yeah,
and he was just like laying back in this barrel, which was pretty sick.
yeah. That is actually like sick. I saw that yesterday. He's on a
Yeah,
he's on a morning of the Earth board as well. He's on like a 20, I think. Um, yeah, Lungy, he made it look pretty stylish because that I've seen quite a lot of footage of that wave where like recently, and it's people going nuts on it for sure. Like, but he surfed it in a real different way to a lot of people who've surfed it.
yeah. He draws some like really cool lines, just like very similar to his own style in like outside of the water. He's real super cruisy and real laid back and chill and just like just cruises the long waves and looks real nice. So I love surfing with Lungy and yeah, that was really sick to see as well.
Yeah, so
Uh, he, here's a question I wanted to ask you for a couple of years now, because when you first come, it was 2021 with the young guns.
Yeah.
So that's only like just over 3 years ago. And I remember you saying to me, oh, you were telling me how you had is it three brothers or four brothers?
Yeah, I got three brothers.
Three brothers, and you're going, oh, my little brother's pretty good. And like no one really knew him about him at the time. And since then, obviously, Quicksilver have always had a strong let's push the youth part. And
Yeah.
Huey just blew up, and then Stab got him for the Stab Air and everything. Was there a couple of times when you were like slogging it out on the QS and you saw him doing this stuff where you thought, hang on, he's getting more profile than me? Or because you're
Oh,
obviously brothers, you were just stoked for him anyway.
yeah, I was just stoked for him. He's such a good surfer and a really cool personality. He's pretty cheeky, young Huey. He's recently just had like a pretty big growth spurt, so he's nearly as tall as me, and he's always been quite small. So pretty good to see him surfing and the way his surfing career's going. He's just started doing some pro juniors, and he just won a pro junior at Redhead, and that qualified him for the World Juniors at the start of next year, and I think it's in the Philippines. So he's good to see him getting excited about competitions again because he had that break and he was just free surfing and really enjoying that. And I didn't really spoken to him much about what his plans were because he was so young and it didn't really matter because Quicksilver were frothing him and sending him to some really cool places. And I think it really helped his surfing and like helped develop his surfing and getting better and surfing different waves. So it was really cool to see him come back and do some competition surfing and get the win. Um, and I feel like it's maybe ignited a little fire in him to buckle down and try to make the Challenger series and see how he goes on that. So I think in the next few years he might be getting on the Challenger series and would
So
hopefully make it on the tour.
how old is he now then?
He's just turned 18,
Just
so
turned
he's quite young
18.
still.
And you're
Yeah,
21.
21. Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I listened to a Stab interview with Huey recently, and I think he actually like spoke really maturely about like what he wants to do with the tour, and like saying that he feels like he's got a lot of time still left before he even has to worry about it,
yeah,
which is really cool. But I think that was before you actually qualified. I think it was going into Brazil, and now like you've got the taste of it. I wonder if like it'll be cool if he does like go at it, and then you've got like the both of you on tour, which would be pretty sick. Um, I wanted to ask like how it seems like Stace Galbraith, obviously he's your quickie team manager and stuff. It seems like he's like really active in terms of like bigging you guys up and talking about your surfing and stuff. How is he behind the scenes? Because obviously he's an elite level coach and he's done it for a long time as well.
yeah, yeah. He's a really good person to have that's like helping me out, whether it be with Quicksilver or just as a mate. He's yeah so knowledgeable and I really am like grateful for any bit of opinions he has. I'm always keen to listen to him and yeah, it's really cool to just like I can just pick up the phone, give him a call and go, oh, this is what I'm thinking. What do you reckon? Like, should I do this or should I do this? And he's always got like a pretty clear like, oh, this is what you're trying to do, so I reckon you do this. So it's really good to have someone like that that can like really just help you figure out and kind of clear your mind on, all right, yeah, I'm making the right decision. Go do these comps or go free surf somewhere else or whatever it might be. He's always got some good points to add, and yeah, he's such a legend.
Here's something that Matt probably doesn't know, but you and Molly are from the same street, aren't you? Is it the same street or she's just around this corner or something?
Yeah, so Molly used to live. She moved for a little bit. She used to live like literally, yeah, just up the street from me. So we'd after school we'd always like run down to the local beach at Shelley and go surfing most afternoons when we were like I'd say like 13 to about 16. So I've known Molly for a long time and it was really good to see her succeed the last few years. She puts a lot of work in behind the scenes in her surfing and yeah, she's an amazing person and an amazing athlete. Um, and I can really see her doing really well this year with the events on offer. And yeah, like if she makes the final five, I can see her taking a win this year out Fiji. She always puts her head down and
Yeah.
really charges.
Have you spoken to her about coming on tour? That's kind of pretty good person to be able to chat to, because she's just done it for the last couple of years, and you've known her. It's going to be a comfortable conversation instead of kind of coming up to someone you don't necessarily know and asking them for tips.
Yeah, it was funny. My dad and brothers planned a little surprise like congratulations party with the board riders literally the day I got home, and we walked across. I lived right across the road from a bowling club, and we walked across the road, and everyone was there and surprised me. And I saw Molly, and she was there, and it was the only time I've seen her since I've been home, and she just kept it pretty simple and just said, "Oh, you're gonna have a lot of fun this year." And she's like, "I'm super excited to be doing it with you." Um, I think we might try to travel together and stay at some places together at a couple events, and just just try to really enjoy it.
You were saying before, this is another one. Like Sammy Pupo's just smashing it. We saw how good he was on the Challengers. Is it a little bit scary thinking like this guy's just smashing everyone on the Challenger Series, and he can't even stay on the Championship Tour? I guess it's no surprise how tough it's going to be.
Yeah, definitely not a surprise, but to be honest, I'm just going to try to stay really present and focused on myself, and not really worry about, I guess, like how he's done in the past and how he's doing currently. And yeah, I feel like most of the people can definitely be beaten. It just comes down to what happens on the day, and you never really know what's going to happen. But I think you definitely know that, like, at some events, like John's going to get pretty barreled out part, and he's going to be pretty hard to beat. So and I feel like anyone on the CT, like they're all like amazing surfers. So it's quite a cool opportunity for myself just to come into it and like get to see, like, I guess my the people I looked up to for the last few years and watched, and now I get to compete side by side with them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask that actually. I was going to say I thought it was pretty cool last year when there were some storylines around how Cole Houshman was like surfing against Medina and he beat Medina at Bells and stuff, and there was all these like photos coming out about and videos about how much he like looked up to Gabby like when he was like before he was qualifying and stuff. Is there anyone on the tour that you're like, I want to heat with them? Like if like let's like kind of manifest it. You can pick who you've got in the final at Pipe, but you can't pick George because that's obvious. But like so more like an icon or an idol. Um, is there
Oh.
anyone like that?
Um, I want to say that he's definitely not in. I don't know if he's in the event yet, but I was really quite bummed when Kelly retired. I really wanted to have a heat against him. I looked up to Kelly like my whole life. Used to watch like every single YouTube footage that was posted about Kelly. But like if I have to go right now, I'd have to say in a final at Pipe, I'd love to surf against John. That'd be really cool.
Okay. Well, I reckon I reckon I'll be surprised if Kelly's not at Pipe.
Oh, he'll
Yeah,
be in it for sure.
yeah,
So
Have
we
you
can
surfed?
yeah.
Have you surfed Tahiti?
No, I've actually never been. I was speaking to Cowley Vast, and he was actually on that Young Guns trip when we came to France, and he goes, oh, I'm so stoked for you. Like, you're gonna make the cut, and you're coming to stay with me in Tahiti,
Oh, epic.
which was really cool. So yeah, if I make the cut and get to Tahiti, hopefully he can just give us a couple tips and show us where to sit. And yeah, that wave looks really cool. I'd love to get there. So yeah, Tahiti's pretty sick.
One
that's
of the guys that wasn't on that Young Guns trip, which I was just thinking about yesterday, because I'm writing an article on him for this thing with Pure Surf Camps, was Marco Mignon, who was one of the gun quickie guys at the time. I was wondering why he wasn't on that trip, but that was pretty wild too. Huh? Do you know him well, both being Quicksilver?
Oh, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time with him, but I see him at all the events, and he's such a legend. Like always super nice, and always keen to have a chat, and always super friendly in the surf. And he's been ripping lately. He was surfing amazing in Brazil, and it was sick to see him get the win there. But yeah, I don't know why he wasn't in on the Young Guns trip, but yeah, Marco is such a legend and surfs really well and definitely deserving. Puts a lot of work in his surfing and training and everything. So really cool to see him take the win in Brazil and qualify. And I'm pretty excited to surf a couple CTs and have him be there and surfing with him.
If you could pick an event this year, um, which one? Like, what's the one you're
Well,
looking forward to the most?
I think pipe. I know
What?
we've talked about it a lot. Um, my whole family's going to come over and come watch it, and it'll be my first CT ever. I've never had a wild card before, and I fully earned my spot on the CT and straight into it, straight at pipe, and I'm super excited for that.
Do any of your local slabs down there on the south coast? They're more winter slabs though, aren't they? Will you be able to get any practice there over the next couple of months, summer or no?
No, I won't get any practice around home, but I'm going to go over in December and feel some boards out over in pipe and just start getting the feeling of the energy over in Hawaii because there's nothing else like it really. The only way to prepare is just get out there and put your time in. So I'm gonna go do that and hopefully be ready before the event.
I
So
think
what
it's
will
quite
you
funny.
do?
Oh, sorry. I
We
think it's quite funny that just hearing you say that the WSL have arranged like 4 practice days beforehand at the wave pool, which is obviously it's not a wave of consequence or anything like that. And then when I just think about like people who aren't aware of what happens in surfing, and then showing them pipe, and if I had to explain to them, oh yeah, this guy qualified, and well, what he's had to do is he's had to come over 6 weeks early and basically had to battle 100 people every day and he probably doesn't get many waves. And now he's just got to go and surf it. Like, I, I would love it if the WSL could do like what they done at Trestles this year as well, where I think they booked out two or it was 1 or 2 practice days for just like 2 or 3 hours. And they filmed it and publicized it and stuff. But I just feel like I would like it for you and for everybody else, and especially for the girls. Obviously, the last couple of years, where they could be like, right, we've booked pipe out for 4 hours, get out there.
Yeah, that'd definitely be pretty cool. But I think the I don't know they book it out for such a long period
Yes, the
already.
permits. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's
Just
you
like
like
the
could.
permits and everything, and
logistically,
yeah,
I understand it. But yeah, it's just obviously
it'd definitely be really cool for me because I haven't got many waves out there, even though I've spent lots of hours out there. I'd definitely be stoked, but at the end of the day, I don't reckon that's going to be happening.
no.
Um, but I'd be stoked if somehow it did.
Hey, I'm not a
But
coach, but I'm a frother. And if I could give you any advice at pipe, because some years it drives me crazy when I'm seeing it, don't sit there for 20 minutes and wait for a wave.
yeah,
I mean, you've only got
I,
one shot of you've only got a couple of shots of having no one out there. You might as well catch a couple of waves, I always think.
yeah, for sure. You see, there's like lots of heats where people either win with like 16 points or sometimes people win with 8. So you never really know. But yeah, thanks for that. I definitely feel like you gotta pick the waves pretty well out there and not be too selective is definitely a pretty key thing for sure.
We're about to wind up in the next minute. What can you finish off with, Matt? What question have you always wanted to ask Joel? Quickly.
Oh, that's nuts. I've asked quite a few. If you could add a spot to tour that's not on there, I'd be interested to where you'd want to have on there.
Oh, that's a really cool question. I'd like to see maybe some more left points would be really cool. Maybe back to G Land or I think there's some like really cool left points over in Costa Rica. So maybe something like that would be really sick because I feel like there's a lot of rights on tour, which I'm not complaining about, but I don't know, it would just definitely be pretty sick to surf some like really good left points and yeah.
Definitely.
My last question: are you still eating lots of pies?
Yeah. Have to eat a couple pies.
Yeah.